Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Kayfabe Central podcast of the pay-per-view review. Still haven't come up with a name for this series. Um, but this is the most stacked pay-per-view review that we have done. Or post-show review is what I've been calling it. Because even last time it was just two shows that I had to do, and today it's three shows that we have to do. But I am your host, Josh. As always, joining me is Rule on Wrestling.
Hey guys.
Stu not able to join us, but he may join midway. If he's back. Um, so yeah, last night we had, or throughout the entire day, we had three shows. We had AEW All In, Great American Bash for NXT, and Saturday night's main event. Uh, Two out of three of these, if you missed, you didn't miss much, and I wouldn't really recommend you go watch it back because you can just see on social media what you missed. One of these shows, if you missed, you definitely should go watch back. I want you guys to take a guess on which shows you think I'm talking about. Um, Yet not a good day for WWE.
No, not at all.
At all. And they were again trying to go head to head with All In, and it just didn't work. But we're gonna get into that. Make sure you guys subscribe, like, and comment. Hit the notification bell so you're up to date with all the videos. Go subscribe to the Ko-Fi page. It's $5 minimum to subscribe to the exclusive wrestling content tier. And yeah, go ahead and check that out. Go check out Ruin Wrestling on TikTok. And Stu World Order whenever he comes back around. He's got some great content as well. So yeah, let's get straight into this. I don't fully know how I'm gonna bounce between these, but we'll just start with All In and Great American Bash and just go based on the times. So
Yeah.
we had a 2 hour pre-show, 0 hour for AEW. They had about 1 second. They had three matches on the 0 hour. They had a 8-man tag team match. The Sons of Texas defeated Shane Taylor Promotions. Uh, then they had Big Boom, AJ, Kyle O'Reilly, tomorrow, tomorrow, whoa, Tomohiro Ishii, um, and Hologram defeated. Uh, don't know how to pronounce his name actually. Hedge. Do you know how to pronounce his
Oh,
name?
Hechicero.
Okay,
Yeah,
there you
Hechicero.
Lance Archer and RPG Vice, Trent Beretta and Rocky Romero. What was actually funny about this is they kept referring to Ishii as Tomorrow Ishii, which is what was going through my head as I was saying his name. So it kind of just threw me off guard. That is not how you pronounce his name.
Very off.
Then the final match of the 0 hour was FTR, Cash Wheeler and Dax Harwood defeating the Outrunners, Truth Magnum and Turbo Floyd. And as always, the Great American Bash kickoff had nothing. It was just an hour of talking and going over the matches. Um,
The
but yeah,
thing is just on that quickly with sorry, Josh, I could say like quickly like on that with the pod with the pre-show fight, it's just a we nib at WWE once again. Is the fact that AEW said had a 2 hour one, and the first hour they did the analysis, which I think probably suits how long the card is. Then the other three matches they fit into the hour. Why does WWE insist on doing like for WrestleMania 3 hour pre-shows with nothing on it?
no idea. It's so stupid. But yeah, some solid, pretty basic matches here on the 0 hour. To get fans warmed up. Uh, then the main card kicked off. So we're gonna little bounce between Great American Bash and All In here. So the first match of
Okay.
All In was the Ops, Samoa Joe, Shibata, Powerhouse Hobbs defeating the Death Riders to retain the AEW World Trios Championships. After the match, the Death Riders took out Samoa Joe using the not quite a concerto. Do they have a name for that where they like put him in between the chair?
I don't know, but they did it later on in the night. Obviously, I'm sure we can talk about it with with Osprey, and I thought that as well. And the way they also took it was kind of not weird, but like like they did like a rather than like stomping on to like the chair to make it like snap, like they just kind of stomped on the back of him. But yeah, I don't think they've got a name for it.
Yeah, not from what I know. But at the same time, on Great American Bash, they kicked off with Javon Evans defeating Jasper Troy. Um, so I didn't pay too much attention to, because this is when both shows kicked off. I was still trying to figure out things with the AEW stream because it wasn't working properly, and um, I didn't feel like I needed to pay a whole lot of attention to Jasper Troy and Javon Evans, and maybe they had a better match than what I saw. They seemed like they had a pretty decent match. Um, but again, not something I'm going to watch back, or and basically what I've seen, like nothing that I've missed. Um, so yeah, it was just Javon Evans defeating Jasper Troy. And here's the thing with Jasper Troy. It's You have this guy who's supposed to be big and bad and strong, but he's lost every match since he's got on NXT. Every big match since he's got on NXT, I should say. Um, and whenever WWE or any promotion really does the thing where, yeah, this guy's big and he's strong, but he's gonna lose every big match, it never turns out well. And they need to
Yeah.
start giving this guy some wins. Like maybe not the Heritage Cup, because I'm not a huge fan of the Heritage Cup, and I don't think that would suit him. Um, but they need to start giving this guy some wins. And if they continue this route, because we're gonna get into Jasper Troy a little later on in Great American Bash, but if they continue this route, it's not going to end up being a good look for Jasper Troy.
Yeah, so we were also saying before we started that I've not actually seen any of the matches, so I want to put an asterisk on my opinion on any of them. But what did quite surprise me was the outcome. Now it doesn't. Oh, okay, let's say surprise, but it's not like a massive surprise. But I really did think Jasper Troy was going to win. You know, as you said, they've built him up quite well, but then made him lose. Now, obviously, losing to Oba Femi is totally understandable. He was never going to win that, but he pushed Oba to the limit more than half the actual roster have. Um, so I was pretty certain actually that he was going to win this, especially with Javon being attacked on NXT. He was slightly injured with the ribs, which is a favourite injury to go for. But yeah, it kind of shocked me when I seen this result that Javon Evans picked up the win, and I don't know. I just thought they would have been willing to push Jasper a bit more, but who knows?
Yeah. See, I did pick Javon to win this. Doesn't mean it was the right route. And they need to put a title on Javon Evans at this point. They need to put something
Yeah,
on Javon. And I brought this up in the predictions podcast. They need to do something with him because he is too good to just be having random matches like this and not holding a title. They need to put the North American title on him at least, and maybe eventually win the big one of the NXT Championship. He's definitely deserving of that. So yeah, they definitely need to do something with Javon Evans, and they need to start giving Jasper Troy some more wins.
yeah. The Javon Evans one is quite interesting. You said that because if anyone obviously, unfortunately, Stu isn't here, but he was live on TikTok last night during the Great American Bash, and I joined his live to keep him company. And I asked him that on, who do you think would eventually dethrone Oba Femi? And he said that you spoke about this on the podcast. And Javon Evans is a name I've seen, and I kind of we've been thrown around it. The only thing with it is it's almost too much too soon. I think Javon down the line would be a great person to dethrone Oba, but the issue is it's too much, I think, at the minute and too soon. And I think he needs a run with the NXT North American Championship, which you just said. Um, and they need to put it on him, as you said, soon. I mean, I could see him be the one to get it within the year potentially, but it's annoying. Like I can see Javon doing so many great things, and I want it to happen sooner rather than later. But the issue is they're taking their sweet time with giving him this first stepping stone that it almost feels like that period's going to pass, and I don't want it to. I really hope it doesn't. But yeah, I agree. I want to see Javon with the North American Championship.
Yeah. Um, so moving on after that, we had on the all in side of things, we had the men's casino gauntlet match. And then on Great American Bash, we had Sol Ruca defeating Izzy Dame to retain the women's North American Championship. MJF ended up winning the men's casino gauntlet match. I really liked this match, the casino gauntlet. It was a really fun match. And obviously I said in the predictions podcast that I thought Darby Allin would show up here. When MJF won this, this is where I was like, okay, Rue was right. I think Hangman is winning later tonight. Um, so, and obviously we'll get into that when we get there. Obviously, if you're watching this podcast, you probably already know the results. But yeah, very fun match. In terms of the Sol Ruca and Izzy Day match, from what I saw, it looked like a pretty decent match. I expected Sol Ruca to retain. Uh, I like both these women. Sol Ruca and Izzy Dame are both great. I like what Izzy Dame has been doing. She's looked the best that she ever has recently. And yeah, both these women are great. And again, I paid more attention to the men's casino gauntlet match than this match. But like I said, from what I saw from Sol Ruca and Izzy Dame, they seemed like they had a pretty good match. Um, and I think they had some stuff going on with Zarya ringside as well.
Yeah, I'll start first, as you said, with the Casino Battle Royal. Yeah, it was a very fun match, as you said. Was a big fan of it. Got some cool names chucked in there, but yeah, it's pretty much as we said on the predictions. Was I did go MJF obviously, but I totally agree with you. If Darby had appeared in this match rather than obviously when he comes into it, I think he would have been the one to win, and that kind of telegraphed the result for later on in the night. But no, I'm happy with MJF, and then well, as you said, it's like you've probably do know the result by now of the final match, but maybe that sets up a feud down the line with MJF and Hangman, which is something I'm more than happy to see again. They had a great first feud. So MJF, great winner here. Hopefully they don't do what they did with Christian last year with the with the
Yeah.
contract. And yeah, as you said, Saul and Izzy. I've not seen it, but I imagine the two probably put in quite a good match. Saul always puts in a great match. She looked amazing on Friday night on SmackDown. And as you said, Izzy's just kind of continued to improve in the ring each time we see her. So no, I'm happy with Saul. I wouldn't have been surprised if they'd maybe pulled the trigger on Izzy because of also her current stuff going on with Tatum. But obviously not, and I'm happy with Saul and happy to see her continue to be the Women's North American Champion.
Yeah. Like I said on the predictions podcast, I'm pretty sure that they're saving that for Zarya to be the one to dethrone her. Um, I think that's the route they're going. If the Culling had won the tag titles on NXT, then I would have went into this thinking, okay, Izzy Dame is going to win this title. But obviously that didn't happen, and I was more confident in Sol Ruca retaining, in which she did. Um, so at this point, I kind of lost track in at what times certain things started. I don't fully know when the Falls Count Anywhere match between Ethan Page and Ricky Saints for the North American title started. I think it was like towards the end of the men's casino gauntlet. Um, from what I saw, a fun match, and yeah, this stipulation suited both of them. Ethan Page and Ricky Saints had a good match, and to a little bit of a surprise, Ethan Page retained. Now, I thought that they were going to give the title back to Ricky Saints. Obviously, that's not the case, and I don't hate it. Maybe this leads to a main roster call up for Ricky Saints. Um, but we did have a thing midway through the match where Ricky Saints got in Jasper Troy's way, and Jasper was like, "What the hell?" and just beat him up. Um, so there was that, and then Ethan Page hit the ego's edge, I believe he calls it, off the stage thing into a table,
Yep.
and then got the pinfall victory. Yeah, pretty fun match from what I saw. I didn't watch the whole thing because a little after that is when uh Adam Cole came out. And like I'll pass it to you so you can talk a little bit about the Ricky Saints thing as well. Um, but Adam Cole came out before the TNT Championship Fatal 4-Way match because it was vacated on the 0 hour, and they said that Adam Cole can't um he can't compete tonight. He's not medically cleared. So he comes out and he tells the fans like that, he's sorry that he can't compete. Um the vibe of this gave off that he might be done. And with Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong coming out, and then Britt Baker tweeting the heartbreak emoji, this seems really bad. And obviously, it's bad when anyone gets injured, but does not look good. And when he came out, he wasn't limping anything, didn't have a sling. I assumed that this had to be a concussion or neck thing again. And I heard that when he took a clothesline on Collision, he wasn't feeling well after that. So this had to be very serious for them to go on the day of and say, I don't think it's safe for you to go out there.
Yeah. I'll quickly cover the Ethan and Ricky one, but yeah. So yeah, as the fun match, I've seen wee clips from it. I said here and there from Twitter. I agree, slightly surprised with the outcome, but also on the other side, not too surprised. I think, as you've kind of alluded to, either way, it might have you were surprised. We thought maybe that might be giving a call up to Ricky. I kind of thought that in general with the basically whoever loses this match might be getting a call up, either if that was going to be Ethan or Ricky. So that is the way they could go. But as you said, there was the backstage interaction with Jasper Troy and Ricky. Maybe they go with that, but even that, I mean, I don't know if, as we said with Jasper Troy, if they would even have him beat Ricky. I don't even know if they'd want to at the minute. But yeah, fun match. I'm happy Ethan Page being North American champion. The guy is amazing. I would like to see if Ethan isn't getting called up. I would quite like to see Ethan Page have a proper run at the NXT Championship again. Um, like proper from when he first came in. It does seem it was a bit of a. I don't want to call him transitional. Just quickly, just to have a bit of a big moment and have him lose it back and then eventually transfer it onto to Oba for a trick. But I would like to see that if they aren't going to put him on the main roster just quite yet. But good match. I'm excited to see where it goes for both men. But yeah, I said I just wanted to quickly fly through that to get onto the sort of more serious one with Adam Cole. But yeah, this sucked. I text you and Stu obviously during the middle of that, and that felt more than just a I'm sorry I'm injured. You can see it in his face. Now obviously he said he didn't want to start talking about retirement or really go into details of what it was. But that was the face of a broken man who I think knows what's about to happen. I don't want to sit here and speculate, that's not fair, but just the signs are there. You know, if he'd just been injured and couldn't compete, they would have just announced it in the pre-show. That would have been like, you might put out a tweet to be like, "Oh, I'm really sorry, I've let you all down, but this is what's happened." This was this was bad. This was serious. Especially as you said, having Kyle out there, having Roddy out there. Um, yeah, I feel so bad for Adam Cole. It's obviously not the first injury. He's pretty much had an injury near enough every single year over the last couple of years, and man, I don't really have much to say. It's just freaking sucks, and I feel so bad for Adam. I hope it's not the end, and he can come back and just show everyone how good he is. But if it's also the end, he has to put his health first, and I wish nothing but the best for him.
Yeah. I apologize if you can hear my dog barking. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah, so they followed that up with the 4-way, of course, for the TNT title, and they had Dustin Rhodes win the title over Sammy Guevara, Kyle Fletcher, and Daniel Garcia. And I understand why they went this route. I was still thinking Kyle Fletcher was going to win, but I understand why they went with Dustin Rhodes. And a lot of people online are going to be like, what the hell? Why didn't they give it to Kyle Fletcher? Kyle Fletcher should have won. After the shitty announcement of Adam Cole's injury, they needed something to pick the crowd back up. And that was Dustin Rhodes winning the TNT title. I don't think he's going to have a long reign anyway. I think this was just to give the crowd something positive after that announcement. And if I can see him even losing it by like Dynamite this week or Dynamite next week or Blood and Guts if they do it this summer. Um, he's not going to hold that title for long, and he's holding like three titles now. Um, but yeah, I completely understand why they went with Dustin Rhodes.
Yeah, yeah, same. Again, I was sitting in the live with Stu at the time, and I was just like, wait. All of a sudden, out of the blue, I was like, wait, hold up, Dustin Rhodes just won. And at the time, I was very much like, WTF, like what the hell, like that was so random. But when I came and digested it, literally, I came to the conclusion what you had there. It makes sense. To give the crowd something. You see in Dustin's face, he was really emotional, and this is also a guy. I might get flack for this, but I don't care. Like Dustin Rhodes is more than deserving it just for the career he's had. And I totally agree. It's not going to be a long reign. As you said, if he hasn't lost it by the next Dynamite or two, I think at the absolute most, he might hold it to Forbidden Door, which is about what, just a month away, maybe just over a month.
Yeah.
Um, I think that's the absolute most he'll hold it for. And it makes sense. I agree with you. I think we both said it on the podcast. We both thought that this was going to be Kyle Fletcher's night in his crowning moment. And I think that's still to come. I'm pretty certain it will be Fletcher that takes it off of Dustin. But he'll get his moment, and he is also more than deserving of it. But just for the time and the kind of just reading the room and knowing what has happened, I think it was a good decision. I don't know who made it, if it was Tony or whoever made the decision. I think it was a good one. And then I said down the line we'll get Kyle to be the TNT champion. I've no doubt about that. But fair play. I said this to you as well. Fair play to Dustin, by the way. Not only was he wrestling, twice in the one night on that in that heat, which as you said he would be used to, he also wrestled on Supercard of Honor the night before as well.
Yep.
And the guy's late 50s, I want to say, Dustin Rhodes.
Yeah.
So
He's around
ab-
that age.
yeah, absolute shout out to Dustin Rhodes, by the way. But yeah, as you said, I think this was the right decision after the kind of shitty announcement just before it.
Yeah, and I saw a pretty crazy stat. This is his first singles title since I believe it was 1999.
So the IC was it IC one was the last one he won, or was it Hardcore? I don't
Um,
know. Yeah, that's mental.
yeah. So congratulations to Dustin Rhodes. He deserves it. He's a legend in this business. Um, and yeah, I'm happy for him. I really am.
Yep.
Um, moving on after that, we had Oba Femi defeating Yoshiki Inamura on Great American Bash to retain the NXT Championship. Around the same time was Swerve Strickland and Will Ospreay defeating the Young Bucks. Um, in terms of Femi and Inamura, again, didn't pay too much attention to this because I was more focused on Swerve Strickland and Ospreay versus the Young Bucks. Because it was the more interesting scenario. And this match between Femi and Inamura went exactly as I thought, except for like one twist, which was Josh Briggs getting involved. And then later on, Inamura went up to Oba Femi and was like, I apologize for Josh. Then Briggs came in and be like, no, screw you. I'm gonna fight you on Tuesday. Um, so there's that, and it's probably going to lead to a rematch between Inamura and Femi, and then eventually Briggs and Femi. Um, yeah, not all that interesting to be honest. I didn't think there was any chance that Inamura was going to win this title from Femi. On the other hand, though, for All In, Swerve Strickland and Will Ospreay versus the Young Bucks was fantastic. Um, an absolute great match, and these four are just amazing. And yeah, there's not much else to say other than this was a really good match. I really like the spot where the Bucks hit a double Canadian destroyer and then Swerve and Osprey just powered out of it and then hit the house call and the hidden blade at the same time. That was pretty cool. I like the Young Bucks entrance as well. Definitely a pretty cool entrance. Um, we had I forget her last name, but JoJo. Um,
Offerman, or I guess you could say Jojo Rotundo as well.
yeah. Um, so she sang before Swerve Strickland came out. She was part of his entrance, so that was pretty cool to see. Um, Glad to see her in a little bit of higher spirits. Um, but yeah, overall great match. I can't really say the same for Femi and Inamura, but at the same time, again, I didn't pay too much attention to it.
Yeah, Oba and Inamura is probably the match I know the most about, and even that is very limited because Stu was giving me some JR play-by-play commentary on the side whilst I was watching the Young Bucks match. So I kind of knew everything that was going on. So I know about the twist. Yeah, I agree. There was no chance Inamura was going to win. I, I hope he got. I said I've not seen it. I hope it's like at least a decent showing for him. I really like Inamura, and obviously I think it was again. It kind of comes back to the whole rushed WWE planning, and I'm sure we can get into that later on and how much that's failed.
Yeah,
But yeah, so as you said, interesting enough to see maybe the kind of the bit of the twist with the whole Josh Briggs situation. I think most folk could have guessed something, maybe not exactly what happened, but something of that was going to happen. And then we'll just see what leads to down the line. Does that lead to a Josh Briggs heel turn? Does it not? We'll have to see. If Josh Briggs does turn heel, and I said this to Stu on his live, and I've said it to you as well, and Stu totally agreed with me. I know you did as well. That I think Josh Briggs is one of the most underrated wrestlers in NXT. He is fantastic. So
I
if
agree.
this was to lead to a heel turn, I would love to see him just go on. Maybe like I know we've just had a monster kind of heel at the top of NXT, but I equally would then love to see whatever babyface dethrones him lose to a monster heel Josh Briggs down the line. So I hope it leads to good things for him. But yeah, actually, this was this was never going to be in comparison to the Swerve and Osprey versus the Young Bucks. We said it on the podcast, and I think we're both probably correct from an in-ring technical point of view. This was probably match of the night. At least I would say so. It was fantastic. Um, Bucks are amazing as always. They're one of the greatest tag teams of all time. And yeah, as you said, Swerve and Osprey, they all put in some crazy spots. I agree. I love that spot with the double Canadian destroyer. I do sometimes hate it, and obviously, yes, AEW have been called out for this in the past. I do sometimes don't like the whole powering out of a move or the no selling of a move, but when they do it right, which they did here, it looks amazing. So someone like Jacob Fatu does it amazingly as well. So I think they did it really well here. And yeah, correct decision in the end. As we pointed out, look, they might have wanted to throw in the a bit of a span on Hangman have Swerve and Osprey lose, then give them wait to all in next year for like Osprey to get his rematch. But you said it, I agree. I think that just would it would really book them into a corner, not being able to have these two guys challenge for the world title at any point, especially now considering who the AEW World Champion is. If they were to not have these two guys be able to be in the main event, I think they would really do themselves a disservice and a bit of injustice here at AEW. So correct decision. Yeah, fantastic match.
Yeah. I also like the callback that they had in this match where um from a few weeks back when Osprey sacrificed himself for a Swerve. And then in this match, it was Will Osprey that was looking a little bit weak, and Swerve threw himself in front of Will, and then that helped them win. So
Yep,
that was pretty cool. I like that callback as well. Before we get into more, I am
yep,
gonna start
that's
another
fantastic.
meeting though. Because yeah, we have a lot
Yeah,
to get
no
into.
worries.
All right. Okay, we are back. So yeah, we were talking about the Swerve Strickland and Will Ospreay defeating the Young Bucks match. Pretty solid match. Following that, we had the Women's Casino Gauntlet match. Um, I didn't write down all of the entrants like I planned on. Same thing with the men's. Um, but Athena won this by pinning Mina Shirakawa. In my opinion, the men's was a little bit better than this. This was still a good match, and I enjoyed it. Athena winning makes sense. I like it. It's about time she does some more things in AEW. I don't know if she's going to lose that Ring of Honor World Championship soon, or if she's going to end up being a double champion. Even if it is just for a little bit. But yeah, the women's casino gauntlet match was pretty solid. Um, yeah, if you missed this, this is also something to go back and watch. Even though, like I did say, I think the men's was a little bit better. Um, I don't know what it was about the women's casino gauntlet match. I didn't go into this or the men's expecting much surprises. So it wasn't like that disappointment factor. But I don't know. Maybe it was the pacing for me. Um, but yeah, I enjoyed this. We had Sky Blue come out with Julia Hart and pretty much just throw herself into the match, despite her not actually being part of the match. But um, anytime Sky Blue is on my screen, it's great. So yeah, pretty good match from them.
Yeah, I agree. Totally. Again, saying that I also slightly preferred the men's one. That doesn't mean the women's one wasn't good at all. It was fantastic. They were both really good matches. Yeah, I totally agree. Really good match, good winner. And Athena, we both. I think you went for Athena as well, didn't you? I can't.
I did, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Good choice of winner. It slightly throw me off, and again we'll come to it later on by who she'll now be facing, but fair enough. But yeah, if you know right choice, I forgot. I always forget how nice the Eclipse is. It was it's one of my favorite moves in wrestling. But yeah, I think all of them looked really good. Chris Statlander looked great. Again, Holly Cameron came out to like pop of the night almost, which is great.
Yeah.
I love Holly Cameron. I think she's an absolute gem. But yeah, I think they all look good. Tekla looked great. Tay Mello looked. Yeah, I think all of them looked really good too. But yeah, correct one out in my eyes anyway, having a Fino. And yeah, I agree. I think just to be safe, she should probably lose the Ring of Honor Women's title, just so that, as you said, we can get on AEW full time. I know it doesn't really matter, but I would like her just to be focused in on the main event of the women's division, if you know what I mean. Um, so yeah, but yeah, I'm excited to see what they go now with, you know.
Yeah. Also, to the dumbass that asked Athena the question in the post show conference, if her and I don't know if you saw this, but somebody asked her if her win in this gauntlet match and her potentially winning the AEW Women's World Title is bigger than Goldberg's retirement match.
What the f-
Yeah, and it's like, look, I get that I'm media as well. I do this as well, but a lot of these media personnels, they shouldn't be media personnels because they're just searching for a headline at that point. And what a stupid question to ask. It doesn't get any
oh,
more like
that's
complicated
stupid.
than that. It's just a stupid question to ask. And like even Athena, she didn't know how to answer that, and she answered it in character perfectly well. Um, but yeah, I can't remember who asked it and what news source he was from, but god damn man, really? Like really?
That's mental.
Such a stupid question to ask.
That's so stupid. Yeah, that I always get, and I said, I know you do it yourself, but at least as you said, it's like knowing, just sort of reading the room, especially when like you know there's kind of awkward situations. I don't tend to watch the sort of either the media scrums or the post shows that WWE do. And maybe if something major happens, like when the John Cena heel turn, I watched it just to see what the hell was going to happen there. But I tend not to watch them, and I think it's simply because, and as you said, like I know 99% of the wrestling journalists there are true wrestling fans. They care it's what, and they're respectful, and they're good people. But there's always, and I don't know how they always manage to get the 1% who to ask their stupid question, whether it's WWE, whether it's AEW, and just the internal cringe and anxiety that I have. I'm like, I can't watch this just in case they ask the dumbass in the crowd. But no, that's such a stupid question.
Yeah. Um, and if AEW's media team is somehow listening to this, then hey, All Out is in Toronto in September. I will be more than happy to be there at the post media scrum.
Should start moving
To
for you. Get
ask
Josh to
good
all out.
questions. um, yeah, wouldn't be asking any questions like that. And if you think I'm wrong, just watch all the interviews that I've done. Um,
Oh, yeah.
so we'll move on to the main event of Great American Bash to get this out of the way. It was Blake Monroe and Jordynne Grace defeating Fatal Influence, Jacy, Jayne, and Fallon Henley. It You didn't miss much if you missed it. It's about as everything you expected this match to be. Nothing happened. Blake Monroe and Jordynne won, and the show ended.
Sums it up for me quite easily then.
Yeah. Nothing happened. There wasn't a heel turn. There wasn't anything. It was just they won, they celebrated, and okay, good night. See you guys at Evolution tomorrow.
That was it. Yeah, it was quite weird when they announced that this was going to be the main event. I think myself and I think a lot of other people probably did expect something quite big to happen, but obviously not. Now, as we record this, Evolution is in what about 6.5 hours time. So I might be about to completely eat my words, but I hope not. But I think they have slightly booked themselves into a corner ever so slightly. So previously, going on a couple of weeks ago, I did plenty of videos talking about it was actually quite exciting with the NXT and sort of well, no, we didn't know about the TNA one at the time, but the NXT Women's Championship picture. I was like, there's so many avenues they could go down. I don't know, like, is Blake going to turn heel? Is Jordynne going to win? What's going to happen? And then they announced the match stipulation for TNA Slammiversary with Masha Slamovich and the winner takes all match. Now, as in, I might be massively about to eat my words here, seeing what depending on what happens tonight. But surely the only option currently is Jordynne Grace wins, then wins at Slammiversary, and then Blake turns on Jordynne. I feel like that's
100%.
the only exactly. Like I feel like I'm not saying it's bad at all. Like as I always preach, predictable isn't bad. But from having so many kind of options open, I feel like it's now quite a set kind of linear pathway that they're going to take to get there. And I think it started with tonight. I mean, I had Blake and Jordynne to win here. I don't think many other people would have disagreed with that. But yeah, as you said, it's I'll watch it after this podcast. But yeah, I take it it's nothing too much to write home about in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah. Um, I didn't pay too much attention to this match, but um, a little side note: Fallon Henley is just underrated, and I think she should just get more
Oh
opportunities.
yeah,
Um, she has the look, she has the talent, and yeah, I think she should be in the spot that Jacy Jayne is currently in sometime down the road.
yeah. I big Fallon fan. Even before she turned heel, I always quite liked Fallon Henry. I always thought if she was either to go to AEW or Hangman was to come to WWE, I need like a wee mini team of Fallon and Hangman together. Just call them real cowboy shit or real cowgirl shit.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, I agree. Fallon Henry massively underrated as well.
So that was Great American Bash. That ended, and then AEW All In continued. So that gave me a chance to focus more on All In, even though I was more focused on All In to begin with. Um, but my attention wasn't really divided, other than like notes I was taking. But then we moved on to the AEW World Tag Team Championship three-way match between the Hurt Syndicate, Jet Speed, and the Patriarchy. The Hurt Syndicate retained. Now, there was a lot of people going into this thinking that Jet Speed was going to win. I didn't think that. There was a chance, but I was like, no. If anything, if the title's changing hands, it's going to be the patriarchy. Um, but yeah, the Hurt Syndicate ended up retaining. Bobby Lashley speared Christian Cage to pick up the pinfall victory. This was a good match, but what happened after the match is what everybody is talking about. Um, so FTR was ringside for this. Um, as Christian was about to leave the ring, Nick Wayne hit Christian Cage with a kill switch. Um, I did not expect the heel turn or whatever turn it was to happen here. I do like the fact when, and this is how like stupid but cool wrestling can be. The overselling after a turn that Nick Wayne does, and like that everyone does after a turn, where it's you turn on this person and they have that look of guilt on their face, but then continues to attack them afterwards. Um, so that's what happened. They set up a concerto on Christian Cage, Nick Wayne, Mother Wayne, and Kip Sabian set up a concerto. And then as they're about to hit Christian Cage, Adam Copeland comes out. And obviously he has to do his little entrance before he actually runs down and makes a save. But he comes out with that. Do they have a name for the weapon he carries?
Yeah, they do. I cannot remember it because I was literally thinking that there is a name he has for it, but I cannot remember what it's
Yeah, I
called.
can't remember what he calls it. But he comes out with like this the weapon that he has with like the spikes or whatever. Um, and takes them out. FTR runs away, and Cope had the thing where he said, "Go find yourself." Now, there's been nothing that justifies Christian Cage turning babyface right now. Even during the three-way match, he was acting very heelish and like a piece of shit. Um, so there's been nothing to justify it. So I'm assuming the go find yourself is Christian Cage is going to take some time off and then come back and um have an epiphany and eventually align with Adam Copeland, and then we'll get Adam Copeland, Edge and Christian. I'm just gonna call them Ed and Christian versus Nick Wayne and Kip Sabian, and then we're going to get to the match that we all are expecting to happen and all want, which is Edge and Christian versus FTR. Um, so yeah, pretty good stuff, and I am assuming this is going to give Christian Cage some time off before he comes back.
Yeah, I think yeah, it's exactly it. I was laughing beforehand because, as you said, I think Cope went to the Penta school of running out to save the baby, not to save someone. He came out, he was running up the stage. I was like, genuinely screaming at my TV, being like, "What are you doing?" like, it's a trope in wrestling I hate. It's so stupid, but hey ho. He's sat there getting like one of the biggest pyros of the night, whilst his, well, maybe not friend, but companions getting murdered in the ring. It's fine. Um, but yeah, as you said, I think that's what it's leading to. It did shock me a little bit. I point out, I don't think there was necessarily a reason for Christian to turn babyface, but I think you've got it pretty spot on. I think he didn't Cope didn't embrace Christian, as you said. He just said, go find yourself. Referred back to the go F yourself from before. So I think they will start off obviously on kind of awkward terms, I guess, trying to almost learn the friendship again or something like that. And then down the line, as you said, we are leading to that match with FTR when we'll probably have fully blown Edge and Christian. Obviously not called that, but Edge and Christian back, which is a match I'm actually excited for. I would really like to see that. One thing I don't know if was clear or not has, and also I'm sure we'll find out on Dynamite or down the line. So was this just a straight heel turn from kind of Nick, Kip, and Mother Wayne, or have they aligned with FTR? That was something I wasn't too sure if I maybe missed whilst watching it.
Um, it seems like they're like somewhat aligned with FTR.
Okay,
It does seem that way. Because FTR was
yeah,
just there watching and be like, oh no, do your thing as they were attacking. Christian. So it does seem like there's some sort of alignment there.
Yeah, as I wasn't too sure. I was like, because I was watching it whilst at the same time. It was quite funny and side personal life story. We'd lost my girlfriend's purse last night, and we were running about the house trying to find it whilst the wrestling was on. So I was half watching it when I was running in and out of the rooms like Scooby Doo to try to watch it. But yeah, no, fair play to Nick. I said it's kind of, I guess, continues his own growth in his own time in AEW. So yeah, I'm excited to see it. And I think this is something that's maybe good for Cope, and hopefully, please get rid of the Cope. Tell him I despise it. Mostly here at AEW. But I think it's good for him because I think a lot of people, me included, I don't know how you feel about this, were starting to slightly sour on him. I just didn't like how he was being booked. I don't know if that was his own decision or if it was Tony Khan's. I really was like Edge is one of my all-time favorites, and when he came to AEW, I was so hyped and so happy. And at the beginning, it was really good, but pretty much since he was when he was TNT champion and his sort of running the main event, and I really wasn't a fan of his booking and his character and how it was coming across. So hopefully, kind of him doing maybe like a Charlotte Flair type currently taking a step back away from the main event, I think it'll start to get people hopeful. Because you've seen obviously last night, like he's Edge. I'm not going to call him Cope. He's Edge. Like of course he'll come back. He's going to get monstrous reactions. But I think that booking on week to week TV wasn't great, and it did start to grind on people a little bit. So hopefully we can change that a little bit now and give him the run he's sort of deserving of.
Yeah. No, I do agree. That his booking hasn't been the greatest. I didn't really
Yeah,
like the TNT title run. And like I
yeah.
expressed my thoughts on the TNT title as a whole on the predictions podcast. Um, but yeah, it's good to see him back, and this could lead to something good, like you said. It gives him a bit of change of direction with potentially teaming with Christian. Um, Whenever Christian comes back, I really want him to bring up the fact that he took his time to come out and save him and had to do his entrance. I feel like that would be hilarious if that was actually brought up. That was
I would love that.
like you want to be a tag team again, but you had to do your little entrance before. Um, but yeah, I think that would be pretty funny. Um,
I would love that.
so yeah, following that, we had the AEW Women's World Championship match. A surprising outcome where Timeless Tony Storm retained against Mercedes Moné. I didn't think there was a chance that Tony Storm retained here. I thought that they were going to give it to Mercedes. I don't hate it, but I don't love it at the same time. And here's the thing: Mercedes Moné, I'm not a huge fan of the gimmick. It's just Sasha Banks, but with more attention to it. And I like Sasha Banks, but there was times where like it was like, this isn't the greatest thing in the world. And now it's just that all over again, but like I said, with more attention to it. And I'm gonna get so much heat for this. I'm not a big fan of the timeless Tony Storm character either. Um, I think like she's doing much better than she did in WWE, and she's completely reinvented herself, and that's amazing. I just I've tried to get behind the timeless gimmick, but I just couldn't. And either way, though, either way this match would have gone, it would be like, okay. It was a good match. They put on a good match. And I'll give them that. It was a fantastic match, with a surprising outcome. But at this point, I don't know who takes that title off Tony Storm. I'm assuming it's going to be Athena. Um, and if not Athena, then I have no clue.
Yeah, I think it's funny as many points you said there I thought were very interesting. I do want to like discuss. Firstly, yeah, I think if there was two matches on this card that I think were nailed on, like foregone conclusions, who was going to win, it was this match and the TNT Championship match. And the ironic thing is, both these matches have came out being the complete opposite to
Yeah.
that. Obviously, the TNT Championship match was it had its obviously the issue with Adam Cole, but injured. But yeah, this one the same. I thought there wasn't a chance in hell that Mercedes wasn't going to win this match. But what I found really interesting, and to kind of multiple points in this, is obviously we've only kind of recently started doing this. We only recently met as well for TikTok, and it's interesting to hear some of your takes on things because I'm the exact same. I am not a big Mercedes Moné fan. I've never really been that, and I don't particularly get the gimmick. Like I get it, it's just not my favorite thing in the world. She's obviously fantastic in the ring, and it was the same as you said with Sasha Banks. Like sometimes I thought it was great, sometimes I didn't. But no matter what, she's amazing in the ring. And also, interestingly enough, slightly the same with Tony Storm. Now the difference being, I have now come around to the timeless gimmick. But see, at the start, I really didn't like it, and it took me a long time to properly get into the gimmick. And it wasn't really until about a year ago, her feud with Mariah May is when I first started to be like, okay, and kind of embracing it a bit more. So I can totally understand where the like just not really understanding it, like, or what particularly enjoying it can come into it. But as you said, great match between the two. Very, very surprising outcome. I think this only makes sense, and this is why earlier when I said it, I think Athena should lose the Ring of Honor Championship pretty damn soon, to be honest with you. I think this only makes sense if Athena beats Tony, which I think that also makes sense in the other side of things, where we talked about it on the predictions podcast. Was if Mercedes had won and Athena had won here, the issue that you would come to have would be Athena would then also go on to face Mercedes, and I don't think at the minute she would win that match unless they went and revisited it like a lot further down the line. Kind of, I think I brought up the comparison between the two WrestleManias between Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. Whereas in this universe, now that we're in, we can have Athena become the AEW Women's World Champion, and pretty damn soon by the sounds of things, and then have her and Mercedes feud for it down the line potentially. But either way, I'm excited. I'm excited for up to all three of these women: Athena, Mercedes, and Tony. I mean, to talk about three women who have came from WWE. Obviously, Sasha was probably was the most successful, but even at that, to look what the three women are now, fair play to them all. But yeah, no, a good match, bit silly in places. But yes, very surprising outcome.
Yeah, and like circling back to the like timeless gimmick, it's one of those things where it's like I personally don't like it, but I can see why other people do.
Yeah,
And it's like it's different. And I get why people would like it because it's different. Um for me, just not personally. Um, but yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see where this title reign goes, and maybe at Forbidden Door the match happens between her and Athena. I'm not sure when it's going to happen. But yeah, just as a whole, I'm not a fan of everybody holding multiple championships right
yeah.
now. Like I don't think Mercedes should be holding as many titles as she is. I don't think Athena should be a double champion. Um, yeah, I'm just not a huge fan of it. I don't even think Dustin Rhodes should be holding as many titles as he is right now.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, there was that, and yeah, pretty good match. So this match gets a thumbs up from me. So based on things that I saw before, All In was scheduled to end before Saturday night's main event started. Um, that was not the case.
All right.
Because the next match we had was the AEW Unified Championship match, Kazuchika Okada versus Kenny Omega. And I'm watching this match and I'm looking at the time, I'm like, oh, they're going to go head to head with Saturday night's main event a little bit as well. This is not going to be good.
I,
Um,
I'm laughing because I'm so glad you've brought this up, but I'll let you continue.
so yeah, Okada versus Omega. Um, Great match between the two. I only watched two of their other matches. I haven't watched all the other ones. Um, but yeah, this was a great match, and I actually liked the outcome of Okada winning this, and I think it was a good idea. The only thing that I have to say about this is I don't like Okada in the Don Callis family. I don't think it fits. And other than that though, props to Okada, props to both of these men. And yeah, I think Okada was the right winner.
Yeah, definitely. It's funny. We can talk about the timing after this, but I'll just talk about the match quickly. Yeah, as you said, fantastic, fantastic match. And on the podcast, I mean, I can laugh and be like, oh, I got it right. But yeah, I really didn't know who was going to win this, and literally just because you went with Kenny, I went with Okada.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I'll switch it up. But either man could have won this, and I would have been happy. But yeah, at the end, I'm glad to have seen Okada win. As you said, fantastic match. And I think we were right in saying, it was an amazing match, but not I think again, I've not seen anybody criticize it, so I'm not going to go that far. But I've seen all this say I haven't, but I think it fit in where we expected it to fit in, if you know what I mean. Like it was never going to be a 7-star classic once again. Um, but the two still put on a hell of a match. Because the two each other's greatest rival, each other's greatest foe. So yeah, fantastic match. And I also slightly agree as well about the Don Callis thing. It The only bit I'm like it kind of makes sense because obviously Callis was in Kenny's corner for the original kind of feud in New Japan, but I still also agree with Okada's character currently. I don't know if I like it. I won't go as far to say I dislike it, but I don't know if I like it either. And that's what I'll say. But yeah, no, fantastic match. Happy to see Okada win. But yes, I'm so glad you brought up this timing thing because I thought the exact same. Because obviously, been doing I know you do it as well on here, but I've been doing like the news and people will ask me, oh, when the show's meant to finish, when they meant to start. And I've been telling everyone that AEW is scheduled to finish at 1 a.m. over here in the UK. And I thought the exact same because I'm sitting looking at the time when Okada and Omega was nowhere near finished, and it was about 20 to 1 here in the morning. And
Yeah.
I was like, you sneaky bastards. And firstly, I want to say, absolutely fair play to AEW because I would have done the exact same with the absolute shit that WWE has pulled over this weekend. I
Yeah.
would have done the exact same and leaked everything about it finishing early to then not have it finish early. Magical, magical bit of bullshittery right there by AEW.
100%. Um, so to go head to head with this at Saturday night's main event, we kicked it off with Randy Orton coming out with Jelly Roll, um, and Drew McIntyre coming out with Logan Paul. And I'm laughing because we're just talking about this classic match
I
between Okada and Omega, and now we're jumping to Randy Orton and Jelly Roll, and Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul. So
I hate this.
I thought Drew McIntyre was gonna win this. This match went exactly as expected. Again, I was paying more attention to All In and the setup for the main event for the Texas Death Match. But Orton hits an RKO and wins the match after Logan Paul attacks Randy. Jelly Roll gets involved. And now we're set up for a tag match at SummerSlam with Randy Orton and Jelly Roll versus Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul. Not a fan of it at all. Uh, but yeah, that's what we have. And before we get into the Texas Death Match, if you don't want to watch the Texas Death Match for some reason for the AEW World Championship, maybe you'll want to watch Naomi jumping Jade Cargill in the crowd instead. And doing the same thing that they've been doing for weeks. Just it really didn't matter. And like also these commercial breaks for Saturday night's main event
Oh,
is insane. Like that was bad.
ah, yeah,
Um,
they're awful.
yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just agreeing. I hate them so much. I Right, okay. I'm going to try and be somewhat nice because also I know that we'll get on to it, obviously, but that it's not entirely their fault. I think this might be my most hated show of the year so far. I hate I hated Saturday Night's main event. And yes, a lot of it, oh, not a lot, but some things were out of their control. But the reason I hate it is not just because of the booking, it's what this show meant in the trying to be petty against AEW. and then AEW put on All In, and it's like, this is what you've came up the counter program with. It was dreadful. So yeah, we'll go to the Drew Randy thing first. I was getting the same as you. I didn't really pay too much attention to the match. I was because obviously I was watching Okada and Omega. Um, but this is the thing, and we seen it on Friday night. Randy and Drew by themselves, great. Logan and Jelly Roll by themselves, I actually think was quite entertaining. Don't put them together. I seen Drew McIntyre walking down with Logan Paul made my blood curl. I'm boy sorry, I hated it so much. And then we also got the announcement, which I knew was coming, of the SummerSlam match. And it's one of these I totally appreciate. You can't just have Logan and Jelly in a match. I don't think Logan's experienced enough to be able to carry Jelly through an entire match. And then the ironic thing you look back is obviously what Logan did when he came in. He teamed with the Miz to go up against the two Mysterios, and I think yes, they need it to be a tag team match, but not Randy and Drew. I've tried not to swear. um, God, that I hate this so much. I said the outcome: Randy beating Drew. I didn't really care who won here. I don't think it mattered. I think personally, Drew probably should have still won, but it is what it is. I'm not going to complain too much about that. But yeah, I despise this, and it's not even individually. I'm cool with all the guys. It said even separately, I'm cool. I mean, cool with Logan and Jelly. I actually thought they were quite decent on Friday. And it got a good point. I think Logan's promo on Friday I actually think was really good. I loved it because of how obviously the whole point of it, how hypocritical he was. But just I can't get past the fact that it's been at the bane of Randy and Drew. It really irritates me. And yeah, as you said as well, then the Jade and Naomi stuff more rather unimaginative booking. Yes, but back Bianca, which was cool, but I thought they might have kept that for Evolution or I don't know, SummerSlam, but obviously they were trying to. I don't know why they would even bother trying at this point to counter AEW, but they did, and it's man, this whole show was a joke. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I hated it.
Like I'm a fan of Jelly Roll's music. I like some of the music he's put out. I don't like Logan Paul, however. Um, so yeah, I it's just yeah, not a fan of this at all. Before we get into everything else, I do have to start another meeting though because we have a few minutes left in this
Yeah,
one.
go for it.
Yeah. Okay, we are back again. So yeah, we are going to move on to the main event of AEW All In, which was Hangman Adam Page defeating Jon Moxley to win the AEW World Championship. Um, Obviously a fantastic match. Um, yeah, great spots, some really gruesome spots, like especially right when the match started. We had a fork come into play. Um, and for some reason, I thought about our predictions podcast, and I thought about you, how you said you didn't want cheese graters or anything like that in this match. And I'm like, oh, Rue's probably loving this right now. Um, so yeah, four came into play, and there was that. Um, then we had a uh, table of spikes, which once again, my sister's traumatized from watching of AEW death match. If you guys missed the predictions podcast, I mentioned how my sister was traumatized from the pizza cutter moment. Um, so now she has been re-traumatized by the nail board. But yeah, this was obviously a fantastic match. Obviously, going to go on my list for match of the year for the end of the year awards. Yeah, fantastic all around. And when MJF won the gauntlet match earlier, like I mentioned, I figured that they were going to go this route. This ended with Hangman Adam Page choking out Jon Moxley with the chain, which was given to him by Swerve Strickland. And Moxley tapped out. This obviously had the WrestleMania 45 to it with everybody coming out. We had Bryan Danielson coming out and doing his thing. Then we had Darby Allin return, coming down, like just rappelling down, doing his little like Sting tribute thing. Yeah, overall fantastic match, and I love what these guys did.
Yeah, spot on. Couldn't say anything more than that. It was funny watching the Fox segment. So I was watching it with my girlfriend, who I've ever said before. She's like, she knows wrestling by curiously through me, so she doesn't know everything. But she normally hates all the deathmatch stuff. But this time she was like, "Oh, I want to watch it with you," because she also knows like Moxley's like my absolute favorite. So she's like, "I want to watch it." And John, just before the fork bit with Moxley, I was having to explain the difference between a blade job and also getting color the hard way. And yeah, I was like, this is a good example of how to get cut open the hard way. And
Yeah.
she was watching it in her face. She was like, what the fuck? This is mental. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, I just did absolutely amazing match. Loved it. Loved everyone coming out. I was a bit surprised. Not, I don't know that it was bad, but I was a bit surprised with Osprey's involvement. He seemed, and I mean this with the utmost respect, completely useless. Like when he came out,
Yeah.
like, he came out and just got sent away this retro. But oh well, it is what it is. But yeah, I loved it. I love the swerve moment. Danielson coming out, Darby returning, absolutely amazing. Moxley deserves his absolute flowers. No matter what you think of this whole storyline with the Death Riders, and I'll be the first one to say I've hated it.
Me
Moxley
too.
himself, though, the matches he puts on and what he puts his body through for the entertainment of AEW to have it, where it is, the man deserves everything. I am totally biased. I don't care. I love that man with all my heart. But yeah, what a match, as you said, and I'm so happy for Hangman in the end, getting his flowers. I think you can see. I obviously don't know if it was in kayfabe, but I could well not be. You could just see him like burst into tears at the end when he got to hold the title. Um, I don't even think that was in character, to be truly honest with you. Like, it was just such a cool emotional moment for him, and I'm so happy for him.
Yeah. Um, yeah, Osprey's involvement was kind of similar to Seth at WrestleMania 40, where he came out as a shield and
Yeah,
got put down. Um, yeah, Osprey sacrificing himself again for Hangman. Um, it makes sense though, because Osprey did get the worst side of the beating earlier against the match against the Young Bucks.
yeah,
But yeah, so I
yeah,
assume
true.
we're not going to see Osprey for a little while. But yeah, overall
Yeah, I would
fantastic
assume so.
match.
Yeah, couldn't say more. That's what, and then yeah, this is why again I'm going to try my best not to rant too much, but why I just found the whole of Saturday night's main event a joke because nothing against the wrestlers. It's just this is what was on this side, and this is what you tried to counter program with. I don't know.
And
It's just
I don't expect Evolution to be any better tonight, to be honest with you.
no. I
I
think
I am not
yeah.
excited for um Evolution. I haven't been. And even last night, I was like, I'm kind of bummed out that I ended my night with Saturday night's main event instead of All In. I would have much preferred that All In
Oh yeah,
was what I ended my night with. Um,
yeah,
because after the whole Naomi thing, we had the United States Championship match between Solo Sikoa and Jimmy Uso, where Solo beat Jimmy to retain the title. It was fine. I think this was still going. I think the Texas Death Match was still going on while this was going on. Um,
it
so I was
was. Yep.
paying, so I was paying more attention to that. Um, Jimmy had some cool moments. Jimmy's always great in the ring, but again, it was it was a basic match from what I saw. And something they could have just done on SmackDown.
Yep.
And honestly, this is what Saturday night's main event felt like, just an episode of Raw or SmackDown. And I am one who
Yep.
believes that WWE wants to call these premium live events. They should feel premium. They should feel special. And I don't want to see something I can just see on Raw or SmackDown on these special events slash premium live events. It just it just doesn't make sense. Um, but yeah, Solo defeated Jimmy. We had Jacob Fatu returning afterwards. Then yeah, there's nothing much else to say about that match.
Yeah, that's it. Like, and it's the thing. Like, I know I've been like saying the night was bad. It's not so much the in ring action; it's the decisions and the booking, and that's pretty much it that I have a problem with. But as you said, like, see everything on paper. And obviously, yeah, we'll talk about the next match in a bit. But on paper, nothing at Saturday night's main event in the ring was that bad. But it's nothing, as you said, that you wouldn't see on SmackDown, on Raw, or even on a normal PLE. And that's my point. Like, see if this had just been a separate standalone Saturday night's main event, it still would have been annoying because you can't see anything anyway by all the adverts. Um, the issue was just like, if you are going to be that petty to counter your competition, at least look like you could give a shit.
Yeah.
Like, it just that's what it came down to. And I said, I love Jimmy Uso, I love Solo Sikoa, I love Jacob Fatu. Nothing against those guys. The match was perfectly fine, but you once again expect me to watch this over the Texas Death Match? Like, no chance.
Yeah. Um, and the show did not get any better after this because we follow this up with Seth Rollins getting hurt. Um, so Seth Rollins does the little senton off the apron, goes for a lion salt, lands on his feet, but tweaks his knee immediately. And as soon as that happened, I was like, "Oh no!"
Mm-hmm.
And I really feel bad for Seth. And this is a legitimate injury if anyone hasn't seen the reports already. Um I reported it at like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. Um this is a legitimate injury, unfortunately, and that really sucks for him. And I have no idea where they go for him because WWE put all their eggs into one basket. They put it into this Seth Rollins gimmick. They put it into his faction, and now they might have booked themselves into another corner. And like, not to Seth's fault, on obviously, they obviously can't predict that Seth was going to get hurt. Um, but they need to figure out a way to come out of this now.
Yeah, totally. There's so many things and get into in a minute. Firstly, actually, I was just going to say I seen it also all weekend of like setting up the new call. I seen on Twitter, and it's to actually do with Adam Cole quickly. I don't know if you've seen Shawn or Sap was saying that it has been confirmed that it was a concussion. Um, so that seems like that's what's taking down Adam Cole. But yeah, I think, and the reason I was bringing it up was just because I was going to use the exact same sort of this sort of point that I made about the Adam Cole speech was I have seen a lot of people saying, "Oh, is this a work? This isn't an ultra situation. This isn't a work. Just look at that man's face in the ring
Yeah,
again, like Adam Cole." Seth Rollins knew straight away. You know yourself, obviously. Like you've done wrestling, and from what I've gathered, you play a lot of other sports. I played sports growing up. Like you know when something's wrong, and Seth knew straight away. You've seen his face. You've seen Paul Heyman's face. You could even see an LA Knight's face. I don't know if you've seen the report that apparently Seth Rollins wasn't actually slated to win this match. Um, so he was. So obviously this has derailed everything. You could see LA Knight after the match. I don't want to say he was annoyed, and if he was, he definitely wasn't annoyed at Seth. Clearly, but you could see the frustration, probably more for Seth himself, on LA Knight's face. But man, this absolute sucks for Seth, and it's something that actually is gonna. We also have to wait and see. On Monday, it's maybe not something to discuss here because we could do a whole thing in it. That's what I was going to say. Maybe during the week we should try to see if we can get a time with Stu, and we could always have a look at where do we think we go from here. But with the money in the bank or the main event, I was pretty certain. Again, I guess I can say this. I'm pretty certain Seth's going to be away for a while now. So I can say my prediction. I was pretty set on Seth cashing in at SummerSlam and becoming WWE champion. That's the way I thought it was going to go. Was pretty set on that. So it'll interesting to see, obviously, what they're going to do. But man, it sucks so much for Seth. And it's what I said it in my news coverage of it. Obviously, 100% of my thoughts go to Seth, but I equally feel for Bronson, Braun, and LA Knight as well. Also, this is probably LA Knight's first. He had also that feud with Roman Reigns, um, 2 years ago, but this was sort of LA Knight's first taste of the main event that he's seen in a while, and for this to happen, it absolutely sucks. Then obviously for Braun and Bronson, I feel I feel awful for them as well. This is just all around a really, really shitty situation, but it's one of those things in wrestling.
Yeah. And yeah, the camera like panned away from Seth as fast as they could. And then ringside there was like camera footage that you'll find on Twitter, Instagram of
Yeah.
Seth being carried out and just screaming fuck. And
Mm-hmm.
if that's not proof that this is an actual injury, I don't know what is. Um because like you said, I am someone who is currently dealing with an injury and that was my exact reaction. Um
Yep.
because yeah, this really sucks, man. And I really feel bad for Seth. And Seth is somebody who I look forward to seeing on my screen when I turn on Monday Night Raw, despite, the booking for his faction not being the greatest. He still always brings that energy to your TV screen and to the arena. And for this to happen just really sucks.
Oh, man, that is horrible. As you said, what I did not realize, and I'm gonna call him by name, but like I'm gonna call some folk out from TikTok here. I didn't realize the hatred there was for Seth. By the way, I put on my video about him and see the amount of no, not hate from me, but hate that's on my video that are celebrating pretty much Seth being injured. By the way, is disgusting. I cannot believe that some folk. It's ridiculous. But yeah, no, all my best wishes go to Seth. Is he's not my utmost favorite. But he's a pillar of WWE and their booking currently. They all, I mean, man, that's the thing they've lost. I've seen someone do the comparison. It's so true. They've lost two of the absolute pillars from the men's and women's divisions in Seth and Liv Morgan currently. And I wonder, and I've seen this. It's maybe a a question for another day, but I could ask you: Is this WWE? This is entirely their own fault. Trying to book so many shows, being money hungry, trying to get as much money as they can, that the poor talent aren't getting the break that they need and they deserve. It's just got because as we said it on our predictions thing all day, it feels like every week it's a new podcast or predictions we're having to do for our PLE. Like every SmackDown or Raw currently feels like either a post SmackDown or Raw from a PLE or one right before one. It's ridiculous our schedule in particular, and it goes back to my anger with this weekend. The fact this is all just to try and counter it all in. Like, just have a freaking word with yourself, WWE. It's stupid. And you're clearly hurting your talent.
Yeah, no, I can't disagree with that. And that definitely plays a part in it because you also have to take in the live events that these guys are doing,
Yeah.
and putting their bodies through. And Seth is somebody who doesn't say no. Seth does everything the company asks him to do. He does
Mm-hmm.
the live events, he does the weekly shows, he does the Saturday night main events, he does the PLEs. Um, and yeah, this just really, yeah, it really sucks.
Yeah. Awful.
Um, but then we moved on to the main event of Saturday night's main event. The World Heavyweight Championship match between Gunther and Goldberg. Gunther defeated Goldberg by submission to retain or referee stoppage. Um, to retain the title, we had a spot where Goldberg speared Charles Robinson. Also, put this man Charles Robinson in the Hall of Fame because oh
I
my
thought this as well.
goodness, this guy has been through so much, and he still comes out and does his job. But man, you need to put this guy in the Hall of Fame or something. Um, but yeah, they had a spot where they had me for a second after the spear and jackhammer to Gunther, and then the
Oh
near
yeah.
fall. I really thought that was going to be it, but
Yep.
thankfully not. Gunther recovered and put Goldberg in the sleeper hole and retained. And After the match, they had a commercial break, and I was confused as to what was going on. We come back to Goldberg giving his retirement speech, and WWE said, "Nah, fuck you. We're gonna cut you off."
I I can. Yeah, so we can come back to the match in a second. But you said, can you put it in our group chat? And I thought the same. Like, I don't know if WWE control the ad breaks or if it's the TV network that are doing it. But Jesus Christ, just read the room. Like, just not have that one. Like, we didn't need, like, there's already 50 million on Saturday night's main event. We don't need one at that exact moment. It literally came on. Well, Goldberg's speech was what, 30 seconds long, if that, a
Yeah,
minute maybe. Like, that was it, and then boom, end of the show. Like, what was the point?
yeah. Um, so that is Saturday night's main event. Um, a honestly a failure on WWE's part
Oh,
for Saturday night, and I don't expect Evolution to be any better tonight. It's probably going to be a tad better, like we have EO versus Rhea, which I'm kind of looking forward to, and that's I think
yeah,
the only match that I'm really looking forward to seeing. Um, in terms of an in-ring performance, but
yeah.
other than that, not excited for Evolution.
No, I agree. I think, as you said, I think it will be on paper better. I think simply from the fact that we've at least had a bit of a sleep, a break
Yeah,
from the wrestling. That's what we see. Even if Saturday night's main event last night had actually been good, I was still already completely out of it because I'd been watching AEW since 6 p.m. here. And so by the time I actually got to properly watch Saturday night's main event, it was like 2 a.m. I'd already been watching wrestling for 8 hours. Like, I was already tired. So I think Evolution on paper for that will be better. But I think just for, as you said, it's I don't know. It's really, really frustrating to see because and this is what's there's so many points, and I've already gone through them all in this podcast, but it's just the sheer lack of care or wanting to make this good. See if WWE had put this up against, say, SummerSlam. I don't agree with it, but that's something where I could understand them wanting to stack SummerSlam, put on the best show they could to try and counter AEW. Again, I absolutely do not agree with that at all. However, it makes sense. But to come out and put on Saturday night's main event, which we already know is a 2 hour show that's got an hour of ad breaks already, but to come out and put on what they did, and it's at no fault of the talent, but on them themselves is ridiculous. And I don't know. I think it's one of the worst decisions that's been made. And WWE are making a lot of them at the minute. The difference between now to 2022 and 3/4, I mean 2022, 23, 24 is crazy, the difference. And all AEW are doing are going from strength to strength. So fair play AEW. Um WWE, I hope you learn from this, especially after you've now injured one of your top talents. Congratulations. Like,
yeah,
that's all I can say.
yeah. I honestly think that Saturday night's main event was worse than Great American Bash. To be honest with you, um, just everything that happened, the commercial
Yeah.
breaks, and it was bad. At least on NXT, we saw Sol Ruca do her thing and Izzy Dane do her thing. Um, and we had some good in ring stuff there, but like just overall, this Saturday night's main event was just bad.
That's that's it. That's what I'm going back. That's what I keep going back to. It's just the complete lack of care. That's what really gets me. And as you said, especially tonight for Evolution, I did a video about this the other day, and the fact that has WWE set Evolution up to fail? And I think the answer is absolutely yes, because they could have chosen to do this show any other time of the year. This is such an important pay per view. It's 8 years since the last one. It's the landscape of the women's division completely changed even from then, and it's a pay per view I think that deserves a yearly, if not every other year spot. It is a very important one, and just to show off how proud they are of the women's division and how proud they should be of the women's division. But it just stinks of we couldn't care less about you, our talent, what you have done. as long as you're taking viewership and butts away from AEW's, that's all we care about. And it's an awful, awful look for WWE,
Yeah.
which it is frustrating. And the funny thing is, when I will fold my hands up, I am a WWE guy over AEW. I always have been. It's just what I prefer. But currently, man, I can't defend WWE and what they're doing, and all I can do is sing the praises of AEW.
Yeah. 100% agreed. Um, but yeah, that is our triple threat edition of the post show review. Um, Going over all three shows. Yeah, all in a success. WWE not for Saturday night. Um, then yeah, I will be back on the post show either tonight, depending on how early Evolution ends or how late it ends, depending on how I'm feeling. Because I was just gonna go solo for the post show last night, but I was like, it's three shows. I'd rather have like Rue and Stu on, or at least one of you guys on, so you can go over it with me. Just because there was a whole lot to break down here. Um, but yeah, I will see you guys on the Evolution post show. Make sure you guys subscribe, like, and comment, hit the notification bell so you're up to date with all the videos, podcasts, and interviews. So you're up to date when we do the predictions podcast and the post show reviews and all that good stuff. Make sure you subscribe to the Ko-Fi page. It's $5 minimum to subscribe to the exclusive wrestling content tier. Go follow Rule on Wrestling on TikTok. Also, go follow Stu World Order on TikTok, YouTube, and what else does he have? TikTok and Instagram. There we go. I
Yep.
always forget what like the third one.
Let's go.
I always want to say
Yeah.
Twitter. But yeah, go ahead and follow him. He couldn't join us here today, unfortunately. But maybe on the next one. And I will see you guys on the next one on the post show review for Evolution. Take it easy.